Hi, my name is Amanda Dunnuck, and I am a senior at Cal State Fullerton majoring in communications. Today I had the pleasure of speaking with the superintendent of the Placentia-Yorba Unified School District, Dr. Elsasser. Dr. Elsasser began his career as a middle school music teacher and shared his educational journey to becoming a superintendent. He had a lot of insightful advice for future educators and hope for the future of education. Without further ado, here's Dr. Elsasser. Well, my name's Amanda. Thank you so much for meeting to interview with me today.
Sure, no problem.
Yes. So I will go ahead and include your introduction and everything after this. If you just want me to get right into the questions, I know you have a lot going on.
Sure, that'd be great. Thank you so much. It's very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
All right. So I did a little bit of research. I saw that you received your bachelor's and master's degree, both from Azusa Pacific University. What was your major, and is there a particular class or professor that played a significant role in your drive to work in education?
Okay, so yes, all of my college units were at APU until my doctorate. So yes, undergraduate, master's, but also my teaching credential, my administrative credential, tier 1 and tier 2. And so I thought APU was a great institution. And so my major was music. And so I wanted to be a music teacher. And so that was the emphasis, was education, but the degree was in music. And so upon graduating from APU, I started teaching right away without even a teaching credential in Downey Unified School District as a middle school music teacher. That was in the old days when they would give an emergency credential when they had a need and the person they want didn't have the credential. So during my first year of teaching, I actually went straight back to APU that summer, and I did the teaching credential program in 1 year while I worked full-time as a middle school music teacher.
That's so crazy. So you started off as a music teacher. When you were really trying to figure out what you wanted to do after that, did you always know that you wanted to go higher, that you wanted to become a superintendent one day?
No. So I loved teaching. I kind of fell into it accidentally, and I got the music major, and I thought I wanted to teach, but I just wasn't sure. And so I was burned out on school by the time I graduated. And so I thought, I'm just going to sub for a year, make sure it's what I want, and then go back and get a teaching credential. And I got a call from the principal of the middle school in Downey, and I went through Downey schools myself. And she said, I heard you're subbing for the district. I said, yeah, I signed up. She goes, I heard you can be a music teacher, and I need a music teacher. I need you to teach for me. And I said, I don't know if I want to do it. And she's like, come to my office, just like I was their student again, and I want to talk to you. So I went over there, and she talked to me into taking the job. So I fell in love with it, absolutely loved the job, had a great 2 years. And then I had an opportunity in the private industry to go into an administrative position. And I thought, well, I fell into education and loved it. I could try this as well. So that's what I did. I left education after 2 years of teaching, went into private industry, and I enjoyed the administrative part of the job, but I missed working with kids and I missed making a difference in students' lives. And so I knew that this wasn't going to be for me. I wanted to get back in education, but maybe I could get into administration. And so I had figured all that out within about 6 months. So I just started investigating administrative credential programs and a master's degree, and realized I could do all of that in a year, but I was going to stay in private industry where I was making better money so I could pay for it. So I stayed a second year in private industry, went back and got my master's, and I got everything done for my administrative credential, except in California, you have to have taught 3 years. So I went through the program, but couldn't apply for the credential because I had only taught 2 years. So I finished that, graduated, and Downey welcomed me back. They had a middle school music opening again, and they brought me back. And so I did that for 2 more years. But I knew I wanted to get into administration from that administrative experience, but I wanted the school side. So I went in and became an assistant principal, and then a principal. And it was probably in my principal years that I realized I'd like to continue, eventually get to the district office and maybe someday be an assistant superintendent of human resources, because HR is what I did in that private industry for those 2 years. And so that was going to be my long-term goal, but I was in no hurry to get to the district office because I really loved being at the site. Into my 5th year as principal, I did assistant principal for 4 years. So teacher 4, assistant principal 4, principal for 5. And at the end of that year, my superintendent called me and said, I've got an opening, a director position. I want you to apply for it. And so I said, I'm not ready to leave the school site. She goes, these opportunities don't come along all that often. And so you need to really think about it. So I did it. And when I was there, she retired after a couple of years. And I just started reflecting on my favorite. I didn't love the job of director. It was okay, but I missed the school site. And my favorite job was, one of my favorite jobs was being a principal, where you can really have an impact on students school-wide. And so I started thinking, why wouldn't I want to be a superintendent where I could then have an impact on students district-wide? You start out as a teacher and you have an impact on your 150 or 170 students that you have if you're a middle school teacher. And that's really cool. But then when you get to be a principal, you can have an impact on 1,100 students. Now as superintendent, I'm in a district of over 25,000 students. And so that was kind of how I came to the realization and eventually would want to be a superintendent.
Do you ever miss being in the classroom?
Yes. When I walk campuses, which is the favorite part of my job, especially when I get into music classrooms, and then they're like, oh, Dr. Elsasser, you're a musician, let us play for you. And then they perform some number or whatever. I absolutely miss it. And I have been out of the classroom since 1996.
Wow.
So, and I've actually been I'm at that point in my career where I've been at the district office in a district level position longer than all my days on a school site. So yes, I do miss it. And I also miss being a principal. And I hear a lot of superintendents that talk about, as they're getting ready to retire, what are they going to do in retirement? And they'd like to, take an interim superintendent job here and there. Those always pop up where someone retires and they need to bring in an interim superintendent for 3 months. But I've always said, when I retire, I'm going to go back and be an interim principal and get back on the campus and back where the real action is, because I really love my days on the campus.
When Amanda and Dr. Elsasser returns, Amanda asks, what does he hope to bring to the Placentia-Yorba School District? What is the most challenging aspect of his job? And what advice would he give to college students who are interested in the career he's had? This interview is brought to you by College Web Mentor.
Whether you're deciding on a major, wondering how to network effectively, or planning your career, College Web Mentor offers a range of tools and services to help you succeed.
That's so awesome. So you've had a lot of different experience in many different roles in education administration. What do you hope to bring to the Placentia-Yorba Unified School District? And also, what is the most challenging aspect of your job?
So I was in Claremont as their superintendent for 8.5 years. And I loved my work in Claremont. I loved the community. I loved my board. I loved the staff, the students. And I really didn't have a desire to leave Claremont, except I knew one day if Placentia-Yorba opened, that I live in the area, I live in Anaheim Hills. And so I know this community very well. And I know what this district means to the community and what the community means to this district. And I thought I'd love to be a part of that team. And so when the opportunity came up, I did apply, and obviously I was fortunate enough to have landed the job. But I really am all about making sure that we have as many different experiences and opportunities for children to get involved in something that they're passionate about at school. And this district has amazing opportunities for students. And at our high schools, we have these career link academies. And I really do believe there's something for everyone here, that every student should be able to find something they're passionate about that drives them to come to school each day. And so really, I hope to continue on that and to build on that. And so what was the second part of your question?
What is the most challenging aspect of your job?
There's a lot of turnover right now in this district. We have a lot of upper management retiring. And so as of right now, since I've been here, I got here mid-year in January, and I had 2 high school principal openings. I only have 4 comprehensive high schools, and I had 2 open at the same time. One did a mid-year retirement, and right before I got here, one promoted to the district office under the previous administration. So I had to fill those 2, and since then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more principal openings that I, as of right now. So that'll be 9 principal openings. That's a big turnover. And then what happens is you start assistant principals that promote to backfill, then you're backfilling those positions. So there's going to be a lot of management in new positions for the first time next year. So that one of the challenges will be just how are we going to support all of our new management team and helping them really creating a cohesive team with our veteran and our new staff. And then the other thing is we're learning to work together as a new board. Our board, as you probably know, we have 5 elected officials that serve on the Board of Education. And in November, the voters, we had three board members that were up for re-election. 2 of them decided not to run again, and 1 was running again. So we knew we were going to get 2 new board members. Well, actually, the one that ran again didn't get reelected. So we have 3 brand new board members that started in December. We have 2 veteran board members, and then we have a new superintendent that started in January. So we're really this new team of 6. And so it's a lot of focus this year is going to be on how we come together and work as a team of 6 to lead this district kind of to that next level and into the future.
That's a lot to step into for this next year too, but that could be bring a lot of good change too.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic, the education system has had to become extremely flexible and adaptive to the changing environment. Over the past year, how has this really impacted the future of education?
So it has kind of, I think, jump-started us as far as online opportunities for students, because as you know, in college, you can go to college and you can take some online classes and you can take in-person classes. And in high school, there hasn't always been that opportunity. And so I know that they were looking at, in this district before I got here, at, some students may thrive in an online environment, and we should offer the students an opportunity to take an online class or 2, and especially as to help kind of prepare them with that option for college. We were looking at the same thing in Claremont. Well, this just forced us, right, to create an entirely online platform. And so I think it has helped. I don't think we'll ever go back to just that kind of traditional way we did things. I think that it required us to get the technology in every student's hand. And so that has afforded some additional opportunities as well. And so I think that there's definitely some of those things that come out we can be considered as a silver lining of this pandemic. But flexibility, new kind of opportunities, new settings, and giving students different new experiences are some of the highlights.
That's a great way to look at it, as more of an opportunity than something that could be seen as negative. That's awesome.
Right.
So I know you're very busy, so I really just have one last question to ask you today.
Okay.
What advice would you give to college students wanting to pursue a career in education administration or just simply in education?
I know I'm biased, but there's no greater field, I don't think, than in education. I mean, the opportunity to make a difference in students' lives is so rewarding. And I just remember, especially as a teacher, when you're in the classroom with those students every single day, I mean, you get to really have an opportunity to make a positive difference in their lives. And then as you kind of go from there into administration, you just have to look at it in a different way. But so I think it's a great field. We need great teachers. We need great administrators. And so I'm happy to talk to any students about my story if that would help encourage them to jump into this field that I think has been so rewarding. I would say, as far as getting into the administration aspect, just don't be in a hurry to jump into administration. Like, I look back and I only taught 4 years, and I don't have any regrets, but when you start working at 22 or 23 years old, and in education, you retire around 62. I mean, you have an opportunity to work about 40 years. And so enjoy the days of being in the classroom and just work to gain a variety of different experiences, because those administrative jobs, they'll be there, and take your time. But then I just remembered that you can have that impact beyond the classroom by going into administration. So we need good, strong administrators also, and just don't be in too big of a hurry.
Yes, no, I think that's a lot of really great advice that college students will really love to hear.
Good.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today.
You're very welcome. And so I wish you the best in your studies and in school. And so are you looking into going into teaching yourself?
Yes, I'm applying to credential programs right now. I'm graduating in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. And remind me where you're graduating from?
I'm graduating from Cal State Fullerton.
Okay. So my daughter went to my older two children both went to Cal State Fullerton. My daughter was childhood adolescent development major to become an elementary teacher. She graduated in 2019, and so last year she did the teacher credential program at Cal State Fullerton. Had a great experience and didn't know if she was going to get a job because she was finishing the program during the beginning of the pandemic, but she was fortunate enough to get picked up as a kindergarten teacher in Fountain Valley. Absolutely loves the job and had such a great experience at Cal State Fullerton. So I know you're looking at different programs, and I'm sure wherever you land will be great. But we need good teachers, and so if you live in this area, when you finish the program, keep an eye on EdJoin and look out for PYLUSD. And if you see something you're going to apply for, at least send me an email to remind me, hey, you talked to me a year ago. So I'll be happy to. Part of the issue is when you first start applying is we get so many applications and resumes, right? And if you're brand new, it's like, how do you get your foot in the door? But anytime I've made a connection with the student, I'm always happy to get their paperwork at least to the top, so it's looked at by our principals when they're putting together teams that they'd like to interview.
Thank you. I'm actually potentially looking into start substitute teaching too in the fall, so.
Great. Yeah. And if you're in this area, we always need subs. And so that's another good way to become known out of the sites. And when you do that subbing, then your good sub principals remember your name. And so that's always helpful.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome. I wish you the best. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. You as well.
All right. Bye-bye.